Oh,
So I think we're all on the same page that maybe number one under intention of definitions, we need to try to workshop that one. Are we all in agreement there?
Yeah. I think that.
And I think ultimately law enforcement's going to decide about enforcement.
Well, but with that for me is as a on council, if I as a council person and council decides to try to have law enforcement train in our ordinance and they're training in our ordinance, how can we communicate the morality goals?
so it sounds like everybody's more, instead of reworking that whole thing, I would just feel more comfortable removing that word altogether. That word in itself is the one that's causing the problem. I mean, nothing else of that sentence causes any issues or stands out, so could we just remove?
Comfort and repose aren't very comfortable.
Could we just end it after health? Just get rid of morals, comfort, and repose, and then just
Stop it at health?
stop it at health.
That could work.
Makes sense to me.
It's cut and dry as possible.
Health and safety. What was your other one you had in it? Health and safety.
So health include mental health or physical health?
Well, that's why I wondered if health, welfare, the welfare of a being versus their morals, and property use impact. Because this is all under blight, right? What is this? Where are we? Because moral is in this code several times. So I just want to make sure we're talking about the same paragraph.
I am on page 70 of the agenda under definitions of intention, and that's under number 1. That's all the farther I've got.
Public nuisance defined.
Okay, so it goes abatement, blight, blah, 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 and then
Down at
down at the very bottom. Okay, so I just want to make sure.
Safety or property.
health, safety, or property.
Property rights, something like that.
Sounds use.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of the oddball. You could have someone that wants to paint their house neon pink, but that's against my morals. So now all of a sudden we're in a issue situation.
So we'll just go with,
That
or
should be
endangers the
separate.
safety of property.
Property rights usage.
Property rights.
I think that's what Brian said.
I didn't say use.
Oh, sorry.
Property
it's
rights.
okay.
Property use.
No, I just want to make sure I got it right.
Property rights.
Keep moving on.
You got 10 minutes to handle this.
Thank you, sir.
Like,
17 more meetings.
yes, sir.
We were talking about the word moral, we were striking that from everything that it came from the whole document.
I think it's
There, it's down there. If we go on to page 2 of that under nuisances,
Affecting morals and decency.
materially interferes with health, safety, or welfare of the public.
there. It is. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
On the second
That's the
page,
better.
71, under nuisances A in the green text.
A to 1.
I could use it in both spots. I would think.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my opinion.
I like it.
I like that they put in a reasonable person standard. That helps.
Mhm.
I like point D under nuisance. Not based solely on subjective perceptions, personal preferences, or corroborated. I should have brought my glasses.
Anything else that anybody wants to talk about on this ordinance? This has been a long time coming.
The whole ordinance you're asking?
Yeah.
Yes, I want to talk about
Okay,
it. I have many, but
okay.
Yeah, let's.
okay, so the one that's most important to me is where it talks about noxious weeds and overgrowth. So that's 8.20.020.
Number 7.
I don't know, I didn't put what number it was, sorry. Just because, so, I don't know if y'all know where I live, but everybody knows my house is the house of gardens. So I have all native gardens in my yard. And because it's a common issue for people who are doing native garden planting for there to be complaints. Because it can look unsightly. So my concern was, it said excessive and uncontrolled vegetation. If someone were to look at my yard and they love a green lawn, they would say my yard is excessive. And they could say it's uncontrolled vegetation, but really it's a pollinator friendly garden, which needs to be that way in order for it to be pollinator friendly. So I just wonder, like, I don't know anybody here, so I'm like, oh, who am I talking to? But so my concern is, like, do we have anything written? Like, I know we do no May. So what do we have in ordinances right now to protect those that are trying to do more pollinator friendly? And I just want to make sure our ordinances aren't working against those efforts.
We have nothing in ordinance against pollinator gardens.
Okay, but if we use this.
I am morally opposed to it, but.
So, but if we were to leave it as it's written right now, somebody could complain and have issues with my garden.
With that, because my entire front yard is a pollinator garden / vegetable garden / wildflower / everything. So that's, could it be something as simple as calling out, is there like a state, these are what noxious weeds are? Like noxious weeds, see definition.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder if we could use words like, I did some research. So like, maintained native plantings. So like if you walk in my yard, it's not just a whole big yard of huge weeds. I have like a nice garden border and there's a little, something.
So for here,
So it is maintained.
could we put something, this does not include maintained pollinator gardens?
Yeah. Or natural landscaping, or there are words that I found that are used to protect.
I like
The
natural landscaping is very.
Native.
Pine
Second
City.
Street Northeast.
Yeah.
Right from Moffett.
The little house.
On the corner. For Terre Moffett.
In fact, a couple of decades ago, the city had to appoint a weed inspector every year.
Just take it right into this.
I believe that's your title, our noxious weed inspector.
Stop a second. You haven't been here, or used to be.
I think that you bring up very
Just go where
valid
the
points.
stop and shop was. It's on my.
Yes.
So maintained
Just take a
natural
right
or
to the
native
Region and
landscaping,
go
I
to
think
the
is a
park
very,
Yeah.
you have that written
Correct.
there, yeah, Okay. very
On the
inclusive.
north corner, northwest.
Non-invasive.
Yay!
Oh,
It's that little tiny two.
So just to clarify too, like, we're here for everybody out there.
Yeah.
Not for our.
Well, and I know I appreciate yellow, green lawns, but I also appreciate the beautiful gardens
Right.
too. And I just want to make sure that, like, I just worried that people, when I started transforming, because there was no plants on my property, and now there's gardens everywhere. So,
Timer's ticking though.
Sorry.
So
yes, okay.
3 minutes.
Next one.
On noise violations, there's supposed to be a set number there instead of a range.
I'm waiting for that to actually come back from the state and the sheriff's department of what they enforce.
State has it. It's
Sheriff's Department.
45 to 65 decibels.
But didn't we talk about that in the last meeting where we said it would be impossible because,
That's
like, are you going to go out there with that little machine and
that's what the statute pulls out with
Okay.
ANSI certified decibel meters, 50 to 65 for more than a half an hour from the property line. And keep in mind that 50 to 65 decibels is comfortable conversation
Yeah,
volume.
it's low.
It's pretty low. So,
I was gonna say, we've been having bonfires in our backyard and someone thought we were too loud and they called the cops and the cops were like, oh, we were expecting a party, not 3 people sitting around a bonfire listening to music on their phone.
Right, that's kind of why I was trying to get some information, at least from our local sheriff's department, what they think is they're acceptable, because essentially, I'm not going out at midnight. I don't get the call at midnight to go out and take my little machine and go do that.
Nor will I say that that's a standard carry for our deputies. To have a decibel.
Right, so we're trying to get that part figured out, so that is one that I'm still working at, and we say plainly audible at 50 feet. That's roughly property line to property line-ish on most of our properties.
I didn't get a chance to review this. Do we have anything on the barking dog at 3 AM?
There is an ordinance already in place for barking dogs at 3 AM. Call the sheriff's department.
I had to go through that.
yeah, I've been going through that too.
We just have roosters.
Oh, jeez, even worse.
Right, next.
55 seconds.
There were, most of them on my list were just like, it wasn't quantifiable. It was all very subjective. So I would just say as we go through, just look at that. And like, for instance, unsanitary substance. And I know nothing about chickens, but I'm noticing a lot more people are having lots of chickens in their yards in town.
We have an ordinance on that.
It allows up to 5.
It does. And so my question was like, where it says unsanitary substances, what is that?
Unsanitary substance, I don't know how much I can go into, but you don't want to know what we and Adam and I have found on properties.
So that was like, some of it, I was just like, well, what does that mean? But yeah.
We had a property that we had to remove fecal matter. So we had to call the MPCA, and that's unsanitary substance.
Any bodily fluid from a human or an animal would be probably considered.
Yes.
Okay, so we are at our 20-minute time. Do we want to keep going on this, or do we want to come back?
Do we want to make these updates and bring it back again to the next?
I kind of wanted to get through it because I wanted to
Oh, how much?
change everything. And then the changes only come back in a color versus, I don't know.
I don't have anything additional. I don't know if there's any other commissioners that have anything additional on our new system ordinance.
I think we covered the ones that I was most concerned about. The other ones were just vagueness, but I mean, that would be the
Sometimes-
sheriff or whoever to deal with if it comes back, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Some parts of it we left a little vague because we don't want to be hardcore crazy people. We don't want to be the mean city on every situation and scenario. We wanted some gray in some areas.
If something becomes an ongoing problem, the sheriff's department would probably let us know, and then we can.
Yes, and we have a very good email conversation with the sheriff's department that's open and
Okay, so make changes and we'll bring it back to the next meeting.
okay.
We're almost there. Thank you, everyone.
Everybody-
Great discussion.
Everything will be in black except for what's changed or requested for change tonight.
Okay.
Moving on to 6.3, data centers discussion and review of possible ordinance.
Kind of went with it. Kind of went with what's out there. The information isn't forthcoming by any means. Kind of went with in the different conversations that were had at the last meeting to see.
I had a question.
By all means,
So the first one, it says when deemed necessary by the city for studies. Why wouldn't we, and this is for learning, because I don't know, why wouldn't there just always be a study?
where does it say that one?
Like at the 13.66.050. Unless I was reading the wrong thing. Let me see.
Okay, the fiscal impact analysis prepared by a qualified professional when deemed necessary by the city. Evaluating anticipated property tax revenues, utility revenues, public infrastructure costs, emergency service impacts, public safety costs, and other municipal costs associated with the proposed development. Some developments, we need the actual impact studies. Other times when we try to get traffic studies done, depending on the roads and where they're at, county tends to shut us down.
Okay.
So we can try until we can't. It's kind of similar to the Quick Trip situation, that street light. We tried to get the county to do it, they said, nope, 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 and then all of a sudden now they're like, yeah, we're doing it.
So this isn't when we deem it's necessary, it's when like the county would deem it's necessary?
Well, no, not necessarily. It would actually come from this body.
Okay.
And then it would be a request to council for them to ask for these specific types of studies. There's.
Okay.
Can I just say that I particularly don't really love these definitions, like a data center is a facility building your campus. I don't love that. I can name off 10 data centers that are within this community right now that are part of the building, and then later on it says that they require a CUP. I don't also love if Wellia's expansion included a new IT room. Technically, that new IT room is a data center, so then you're going to inspect and CUP their data center.
That definition.
Look,
Size.
Item nine above that though helps a little bit, saying that several rooms occupying less than 10,000 square feet and serving only one principal use is not included, so that helps.
That help, and I guess this is me personally. If it's a 10,000 square foot colo, so co-locate is the most common kind of data center. It's me, I don't have the money to afford a full data center on property, or I want backup somewhere, so I rented a colo, like the 511 building down in Minneapolis is a colo. You can rent and they give you one equipment rack. You fill that, or you send your equipment down to them, they rack it, they get it connected to the internet so you can talk to it. But it's your equipment, so it's a little bit different than. It's hard with data centers because, like, I couldn't even argue.
Is this similar to what we have at Pintech? Would that be?
That may be considered a colo because Midco shares that space with Pine Tech, and they also share that space with the state of Minnesota. So they all kind of use the same room, but all have access to different racks of equipment in that room. I could even argue that, depending on what department the county does, you could say that the county in our data center offers every department has its own software that's hosted in there, so that's many different uses. Though it all could also be said that it's hosting county government data, but it just all depends on how you interpret well, and that's not a 10,000 square foot room. That's probably a 600 square foot room, so that's under the threshold. But it's.
I've seen this topic on the news, but I have no idea why there's such disdain for.
The state of Minnesota, they actually are pushing them to the northern states right now. A lot of the southern states, they're having to pay extra when they're cooling all year. They want to move them up here, less cooling in the wintertime. And there's so much information out there that they're so bad and so bad and so bad. It's very hard to decipher what's truly real and what's truly not with doing the research that I have been trying to do on this. It's hard.
There's entire states such as Texas and Oklahoma that have put moratoriums on because the cost of energy, specifically electricity, has spiked for local residents. The usage of water, the availability of water. With some of the larger centers, there's a lot of noise that goes with it. There's a lot of noise complaints, like a hum that occurs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never goes
kind of like being at the High Lines east of town here underneath us.
Thank you, that clarifies it for me.
'Cause I can say too that it's, and I'm not by no means an HVAC or data center design expert. We're not gonna run into the water issues that is normally the big argument point here with our the environment or our air is too humid here. So those in California, Texas, where they'll have those data centers and they're pumping that millions of gallons of water out of the city's municipal system every day. Those are swamp coolers that they're using to cool off those servers. They're
Right.
blowing cool, damp air across them to draw the heat out and get it out of the building. Here, like our data center is mechanical refrigeration. There's liquid cooling, there's things like that, but up here it's either like an Air Force chiller or air chiller or a dry chiller or a mechanical chiller. That's what's the most common up in this area, and then they can bring in that cool air.
Right.
There's some that do, the newest thing is lake water, so they would have an inlet and an outlet in the lake. That makes me personally a little bit nervous, because even raising the temperature of that lake a couple degrees is gonna change your ecosystem tremendously. And I should say, being an IT person, being a tech person, I'm not opposed to data centers. I am opposed to someone coming and building a couple 100,000 square foot building that's going to raise everybody's electrical rates in this area, because we already get most of our power from Canada as it is. Just because ChatGPT or OpenAI decides that they want to build a data center here because we have cheap land and an abundance of it. There's a lot of questions, and it's not just an IT question, and it's not just water use and land use and energy use. It's also I think I mentioned this at the previous meeting, a lot of these, yes, there's a crew that's going to build them. Yes, there's a crew that's going to maintain them, but your crew of maintenance folks in even up to 1 million square foot data center, you're looking at
80.
tops,
Yeah.
and most of those are HVAC techs.
So it's
Yep.
taking up a lot of land, not generating a whole lot of revenue, and not creating a whole lot of more people around.
So writing that, there's one section in here where it talks about the dismantling of it.
At the end,
That was the easiest part of this ordinance to write. With trying to, going through all these other ordinances, through all these other different states, because most of these don't, I mean, there mostly is no ordinance out there to allow them. So writing this ordinance in its entirety was very, 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 very tough. But the decommissioning was super simple. Like I'm like, okay.
Because believe it or not, there's several communities throughout the United States that have had these massive data centers built that are archaic already. So they have these huge 1 million+ square foot concrete tilt-up buildings in their communities, and the company's gone. So now what do you do with them?
Yeah, because that's even like we're seeing in the industry, storage and memory prices are basically doubling the cost of your computers right now. Well, that's also impacting the AI industry. So that's forcing them to have to retool. I was just reading an article last night that something was retooled, and it's using half of the resources it was using 6 months ago with the same code. So if that's what you can do in 6 months, my biggest fear, especially with the AI, like there's colos where folks are going to host backups and they're going to host their data, and that's going to be forever. But my biggest fear is what's running in a 300,000 square foot data center or multiples across the country is going to be running in a box under your desk.
As soon as we hit that quantum, I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory. We're not far off from that quantum computing. As soon as we hit that quantum, data centers are obsolete.
But I mean, I'm open to changing absolutely anything through this. Like I said, it was extremely hard to write, and trying to put everything that you guys said at the last meeting into words was also tough.
Could we simplify this by, and it's not ideal, but Like, could we simplify this by just saying no data center in the city limits of Pine City shall exceed 10,000 square feet? 15,000? I don't want to try to pigeonhole someone into not having a business here, or an opportunity here, but
10,000 square feet is a big.
that's
That's a
a
lot.
big building. That's one of
A
the,
lot of places.
I made it a.
But you don't kind of do that.
Well, this is all done under conditional use,
Because.
but if we're putting in a massive, but if we're putting in a, so data centers, I mean, we would have to, we would work this wording in that any data center over 10,000 square feet, not allowed, anything under 10,000 square feet, here's your ordinance, essentially.
I don't want to do a 15,000 square footer. I don't want to do it. It depends on where it's at, right? I mean,
Is that they've got a vertical thing, 50,000 square feet, but they're like.
I think that,
Six stories isn't allowed in a lot of areas.
can we require a, pre-planning meeting
That's
for the
this,
conditional use?
the conditional use, that's the full, it'll be, they'll have to do the conditional use and then they have to do because it'd be a brand new building, it would be automatically be a development site plan review. You would get both back to back.
I thought this looked like a really good starting point myself, because it does provide a lot of the review, pre-review, basically. And, I mean, I don't think it's probably gonna be used anyway, but
It's probably not, but we're not shutting it down before somebody even comes.
no,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's pretty good. It lays things out in a way that should be usable. I think it's fine.
Do we want, commissioners, do we want to take a month with this to review? Bring it back next month and maybe look for some final edits and amendments then?
The one thing I wanted to mention, based on what Ken had to say, personally, I think it's a good idea to set some kind of a parameter, because if we don't have that in place and a company wants to build one of these and they have the attorney dig through this and they can put together a proposal that fits within the current guidelines, we can't stop them then. We can change future ones, kind of like when I was gonna build a campground out in Champlain Township. They didn't have zoning to prevent it. So once I started and hired an engineer, they put zoning things in place after that, but mine, they couldn't prevent it had I wanted to continue forward with it. And that could happen to us here. So I think it's a good idea that we do put some kind of a stop in place so that they can't come in and push through and get it done.
Could we put some writing that says like, could require berms, landscaping, larger setbacks?
That was in here.
Yeah, and I thought the process that's laid out here is gonna be, it's not gonna happen in 2 months. No. I mean, it's
No.
gonna be a long-term process before there's approval.
Yeah, so I mean, it's even right here, conditional use permit and development site plan review, so it's gonna have its time.
One of the things, and I'm not sure how, is why I don't bring it up too much tonight, but one of the things with the data centers that I think is important, that I've seen in other communities, is for us to be able to get language in there somehow that would require council approval for any city staff member to enter into an NDA agreement with any company that's looking to do these. That's just my opinion.
yeah, I think that's not necessarily, because I think that's caught some other cities. Someone signed something that they shouldn't have signed, but they don't have the rules in place, right? It's just kind of a,
Yeah, I have no rules.
Because at this point, this is just my understanding, but at this point, if a company was to show up to the city and say, we're interested in developing, we need you to sign this NDA, you have to sign this NDA, and then you're engaged in the process, but you can't, that city staff member or staff members can't share any information with anybody about what's happening, but have to engage in the process because that's the law. That's my understanding. And I just think that there's protection for city staff and that it's important.
That's gonna be made state law next session. What I've heard.
Hopefully.
days.
I have heard that. I was very thankful to see that in the
Came
legislative-
close this session.
Okay, so are we all in agreement? We'll bring this back with, spend some more time with our fine tooth combs. Hopefully do some final edits on it next month. Real business.
Sounds good.
Again, good discussion. Thank you, commissioners. Moving on to 6.4, manufactured home ordinance discussion. We are at 6:04. We have 25 minutes remaining.
I put this back on at the request of commissioners last month. I am assuming the Bruin people were not able to make it.
Well, yeah, he said he was gonna be here, and I just texted him back when he wasn't here. He said he's in Duluth still, but he would make a phone call in, put him on speakerphone, and he'd like to explain his buildings because he thinks the claims that Andy made were not true, not accurate about his buildings. So
Is there a way that we could have him come to maybe our next meeting?
why
That's
not
just
get
kidding.
it done 1 month and have him come next month?
Just a comment, it sounds to me in the news like this is gonna all change in a few days. Because the bill that has passed both houses of Congress changes the definitions of manufactured homes, so they don't have to have steel frames and they don't have to have wheels.
Right, and it also opens up financing options under federal government. I don't know if you've heard the latest today, but the person that's supposed to sign that bill into law is refusing to sign it into law because of the Save America Act.
Except there are indications that he's just gonna not sign it, but it's still gonna become law in 10 days.
Actually have it pulled up here because there's so much of it that we as a commission, I believe, have been talking about that is in this bill. That sets our community up for the future. That was very disappointing to hear that today. I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
And manufactured home, there's a quote, manufactured housing produces some of the most cost-effective housing in America, but access to financing has been tightly restricted. This creates the opportunity for more manufactured housing and at the same time creates a structure for people living in manufactured housing communities to organize and protect their investment in homes. So there's a big portion of this bill that really focuses in on that. It focuses in on ADU, DADU, and tiny home building. So if you haven't seen it or looked into it, it's pretty amazing. Hey, back to manufacturing.
So another reason he could just kick it off next month.
Yeah,
Able to next one.
table till next month. Okay, new business 7.1, comprehensive plan subcommittee and goal setting council directive.
Council was directed to send us to planning, chapters 4 and 5 of our comp plan. Have been mostly, the goals on it have been mostly completed. All right, even though it's 10 years and it's only been 2. They were potentially looking at possibly starting up a subcommittee to maybe make some goals or make some more goals to it, but I don't know if we'd be able, I don't think we can amend our comp plan. We can. So if there's interest, thoughts.
It was a good conversation at the council level. It was around, just to reinforce the comprehensive plan for me as a counselor, as counselors, this is the document that we use to make decisions for the community. This is what's put together by the community, by community members. We say as a community over the next 10 years, this is what the city needs to focus on to make where we live. For myself personally, over the last 8, 10, 12 months, as I've been referencing comprehensive plan, because we've had quite a few big decisions that we've had to make as a city. As I referenced it, I keep coming to the goal parts and saying, man, we really seem to have crushed it, done a lot of the stuff that was on here. So we brought it up as a discussion point. Would it behoove us to start a subcommittee to look at setting some new economic goals, and what was chapter 5, downtown revitalization goals? and council directed to bring it here. I know the last time there was a community action plan committee, and there was subcommittees off of that. Those roles and rosters aren't available to us. So I don't know.
I might have some emails. I was on that committee. I might have some emails from when it originally kicked off, if that would be something that we'd want to send back out and do as a community event to Ken.
Well, for me, I was, again, just my opinion is I was thinking that there was a lot of people that spent a lot of time and hours on this originally. In my opinion, it might be the right thing to do to reach out to those folks to see if they want to be a part of that process again, since they're the ones that set the original goals. But again, that was just a thought to keep it inclusive of the people that come. Or we could handle it as a planning commission, or we could put up new volunteers, or we could say leave it as it is. Have lots of options.
I mean, thinking of, if a lot of people put a lot of hard work into it already, I'd at least like to start there. It feels like a good starting point to people that already worked so hard on it. And had, they might have seen, we went the process already, we went our process already, so some of those folks or all of whatever one, I think that would be a good starting point instead of trying to reinvent the wheel again.
I'll see if I can find that and send it off to Marcy. We can go from there.
Bring it back under old business for next month. And again, there's things on like chapter 4, like bringing a hotel in Pine City. I think we leave that on there. I think that was direction from council because we have attractive, but still want to leave it there. But we've got a grocery store. The relocation of MnDOT, I mean, that could be another one that, in my opinion, that stays on there. But that's as far down the wagon path as it can get.
It's in their hands.
Yeah,
It's in their ballpark, and I kind of already know where they're possibly going, so.
So we can't, in my opinion, again, that we were talking about studies early, the city has spent enough money on hotel studies over the years. I think I added up $137,000 in studies to say that we need to bring a hotel and attract private investment. So in my opinion, I think we know what the answer is there. So there's not a lot of energy to me that we can spend there and relocating. Again, like we can keep the name. You guys, are you ready yet? Are you ready to go yet? You gonna move?
Still in
We
there.
want that 5 acres. We want that 5 acres.
It's still 5 years down the road.
Yeah. And then, again, like to Chris's point, there were people that maybe there were other goals that were, they had a whiteboard and these were the 3 and one missed by a vote. And they have other things. I'll shut up. Anything further on 7.1? Bringing it back next time. Okay. On to 8, commissioners' concern miscellaneous items. Anybody have anything?
Oh, sorry, which one's 7.3?
I'm sorry, 7.3, discussion on alternative vehicles using roadway.
7.2 garage sales.
Oh, I'm sorry, I totally screwed that up. Discussion on garage sales.
We haven't gotten a formal complaint, but we've gotten a lot of people's phone calls. We have a gentleman that has had a garage sale every day since April on Main Street. We're kind of getting called, it's blighting. We're told behind the house is disgusting, but can't get anybody to actually do anything about it. Looking at a lot of other communities, they actually limit how many garage sales you can have in a month.
I thought we did too.
We don't have anything on garage sales in our,
Sounds like maybe we should put something in.
kind of wanted to feel out where commissioners were. Depending on how it went here, I would bring it to council, ask for council permission to look into this. And like I said, a lot of phone calls, a lot of conversations, but not an actual formal complaint against it. Means I have nothing. He cleans it up and takes it down. But even with the formal complaint, he cleans it up and takes it down every night, just resets up every day. I still have
But
nothing.
it's crossed the line into a small business at your home.
Yeah.
So
But even a small business at your home, a home occupation is to be inside your home. I don't even have teeth in that aspect.
Just to toss it out there, the first thing that pops into my head is to have a limited number of weeks a month. Like your garage sale shall be no more than
8 days per month.
8 days per month, 2 weeks per month, wherever you want that to land.
It's your 4
Right.
Wednesdays for the flea market and 4 Saturdays.
There's a lot of towns that actually require a permit.
No one's gonna get a permit.
I know that.
But I think that's a simple solution, right? You can have a garage sale 8 times a month, or 8 times a year. 6 days a month.
Anytime over eight, it's $10,000 fine.
And could we possibly break out, the sign part of garage sale signs into that ordinance as well?
I would like to.
That's a great idea.
It's,
Other than maybe on your own property, I feel as though there should be, with maybe the exception of like the citywide garage sale day, there should be sales on your property or signs on your property only, not.
yeah,
Our
it's,
ordinance, they can be in the right of way, but like, just reinforce they have to be in this part. They can be there for this long.
yes, it's, I
Otherwise,
think
we're
it's 2 days before or 2 days after, and we're tearing down garage sale signs left and right. I will say, Adam, I'm tearing down plenty of garage sale signs.
Like wall drug signs sometimes.
Oh, God, I hate that drive.
State law says that you can't put up signs in the right of way,
On state roads,
no, on any road.
really.
That's a problem for me.
But, yeah,
Well, there's, no, even real estate signs have to be off the right of way.
And our ordinance allows it within the right of way.
funny story when, 315, we're getting to the final parts of cleaning that out. There was one whole room on the right-hand side somewhere that was nothing but confiscated signs. And I mean, it was a
So at this point, because we don't have we don't have a place to store them anymore. We've kind of put in our own internal policy that we'll hold the signs, we'll get them back to the office, we'll call, if they're business signs, garage sale signs, we throw. Business signs, we call you, you have 48 hours to pick up, or they're going to the dumpster. Where are we gonna put them? We can't store them like that anymore. That's
Like the corrugated signs.
yeah.
any signs that we pick up. We hold for 48 hours, we call you, we leave you a voicemail or tell you you have 48 hours, come and get them or they're gone.
Here it is. Under Minnesota law, placing unauthorized signs, including political advertising or business signs within any highway right of way is illegal. This restriction applies to all state, county, city, and township roads. The right of way includes driving lanes, shoulders, ditches, back slopes, intersections, site corners, road authorities like MnDOT or Public Works, and state transportation employees are required by law to remove the unlawfully placed signs.
We go pick them up.
So basically every sign.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
I know, it's just like, oh my gosh, I have a sign.
Well, some of them do, not very many.
Not in our community.
So,
Them
no,
state employees drive right by. I do know that.
they do down in the cities.
So I'll do a request for council action to ask them for permission to look into garage sale ordinances and bring some back that I find next month.
Sounds good to me. Okay, any further discussion on 7.2? Now we'll move on to 7.3, discussion of alternative vehicles using the road.
I'm gonna ask for this because we have Boulevard and so do a bunch of other people in town, and I've passed deputies, I've passed state troopers, I've seen them all, and they just wave at me and tell me to have a great day, but I just would like there to be some sort of, we must have a slow moving vehicle sign in it right here, and we
I mean, put it, not cost anything, but at least put it on a registry at the city or something of some sort to have it.
What the guy's lawnmower dangerous.
I would like to include
How do you
any type of
any slow moving vehicle.
slow moving vehicle, personally.
So I
These e-bikes that are going by, we've had
Yeah, at my previous city, we did have, they had to come into City Hall. Hey, it was very little. And I think it was even, we had stickers made. It was like, you know, you registered to bike when you were a kid. That was a little sticker. It goes on to the back of your vehicle, and they came in. It was more than a year, though. I want to say it was a 1 or 2 or 3 year registration, but they had to register anything moving, any kind of moving.
I know it was not necessarily golf carts or slower moving vehicles, but I know it was discussion when the county legalized it.
The OHV thing.
Yeah, because we were looking at kind of doing like, I know like when we used to go hunting out in Wyoming, it was the same kind of sticker material that your fishing or hunting license is on now, but it was said state of Wyoming, this day to this day, off-road vehicle authorized, you stuck it to your four-wheeler, your side-by-side, and that was your permit to drive it on the trail. We didn't do it at the county because I think it was prohibitively expensive to get our own paper design for the number of permits that we would run a year.
Right.
My
But we
question
could
is,
bring our own.
but my question is, what's the purpose? What does it serve? Put the sticker on your golf cart?
Yeah, I guess I would prefer,
Does it make it safer?
I would
Really?
prefer not to have a bunch of stickers all over my golf
Yeah,
cart.
why? It's just another tax.
So just another perspective. So in Woodpecker Ridge, where I live,
We were at the park across from your house, and we saw ribbon.
yeah. So
I'd like
it's,
to put age on it.
okay, so here's where I was going with that. It is scary.
Yeah.
It is scary. Right now, I have a little, like, 5-year-old roping around on the road on a mini bike. I've got preteens trying to tip their golf carts, bless your golf cart, but golf carts
Yeah,
are driving me crazy. And it's like during the week, it's okay-ish. Weekends, when people come to their cabins, I want to rip my hair out, and it's fine. They're quiet. It's great. You have no idea how many hurt children I have almost seen. I am concerned about safety.
I can honestly say, not that I want to admit that I was going to the liquor store, but I was going to the liquor store. And
For work, right?
yeah,
It's okay, you're welcome.
there was a child that was hit on an e-bike.
Yeah.
As I turned down the road.
It's bad.
Hit by a car.
I really
There is-
appreciated the article that they had in the paper this last week in the Pioneer. I don't know that it'll do any good. But-
There is state laws.
Yeah.
Um,
They
the,
explained a bunch of
they can't, so like the city of Roseville, there's actually a few cities very recently that did a big community involvement. This is what's gonna happen. These are state laws. The city now has an ordinance, and it's yes, they enforce state law, but the minute you bring the city and the city has the ordinance that directs it to follow the state law, because it's gonna change. Significantly helped when they say the city's also enforcing versus just the sheriff's department.
If it's any
people to do the enforcement.
If it's any
Do we?
consolation,
Do
at
we?
the council level, this has been brought to the sheriff's department attention many times at many council meetings.
But they
about
drive
these.
through all the time and
I-
they do nothing.
And all
Oh,
we get
there's-
as a response, the sheriffs have told us, if you see it, you need to call the sheriff. But honestly, I can count 6 times on my hand that we have had lengthy conversations with the sheriff's deputy about the concerns of safety, people get hit, get smacked, and they, well, you gotta call us, you gotta call us, you gotta call us, you gotta call us.
Right. So, but having an ordinance in place and
But there's
Somebody-
laws in place already. That's
Right.
There's laws that can be enforced. The ordinance is above and beyond to me, in my opinion. I share your concerns of safety. I live on a dead end and they rip down there all hours of the day and the night. Same thing, no helmets, no nothing. You call the sheriff, sometimes they may show up, sometimes they may not. But if they're not gonna enforce the state law, in my opinion, what good is an ordinance?
but if we put the ordinance, I don't know if it's right, but if we put the ordinance in and somebody makes a complaint, this property owner, their children are out riding and this and that, blah, 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 call the sheriff didn't do it, because we can put that wording on our C-Click Fix It. Did you contact the sheriff's department? If so, what's the case number, blah, blah, blah? we can pull that, we can actually issue, it would give us another step of, we can issue that citation, we can just go straight to Reese with it.
For me.
It skips kind of the sheriff's
I guess,
department.
But I'll give you the example of me driving home from work the other day. There was two kids up by Santa Jean's and they were doing the whole like, let's see how far I can rock my bike before I tip it over.
Mhm.
Down the middle of the lane at 61, weaving in and out of traffic. Thank goodness it was 11:30 on a Tuesday or something
Right.
like that, so it wasn't busy. But I mean, and there are laws around because that follows like the moped, the
Mhm.
e-bike laws.
Mhm.
And I'll be honest, as an individual, I don't have time to call police every time I see someone driving on an e-bike that should be wearing a helmet, or and I'm not going to take that.
Some of the vehicles are pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
There's like some kids that go by my house on one of those little tiny scooters with wheels about this big, and those things are going at least 25 to 30
Yeah.
miles an hour.
Buy
That's,
at Walmart for $400.
yeah.
Those skateboard ones.
And I'm worried over here with my golf cart that maxes out at the top speed of 13 miles an hour. I can get out
Yeah.
and walk as fast.
Well,
It's
there's
too slow.
tons of
But
people
rear
that
end bike,
golf
e-bike.
carts and
Well, so the
UTVs
sheriff's
and
department
whatever.
did tell us because we don't have a golf cart ordinance, we can't enforce. We have a snowmobile, ATV, UTV ordinance. We enforce that. They enforce that. Golf carts don't have,
Why don't we just put the golf carts under that?
That it's not allowed to drive on the roads.
they have to be, there's a
Gotta
whole,
meet. They gotta have a rear view mirror.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they have a
They
slew
have
of
more.
things, so,
Yeah,
but
and
we
when
can't
did you
stop
ever
it.
see one that had road legal tires on it? I mean, they don't.
Or the 8-year-old that I saw driving the golf cart, his 10-year-old friend, and like
That's the ones that I'm worried
down
about.
the
Like,
road.
can we do it like an age?
Yeah, or like, I
If you
know.
don't have a driver's license,
I
should
was just gonna say-
you be driving a motorized vehicle down the road?
I don't think it's that.
No.
ATVs allow you at 12,
If you take training.
if you have your training.
And a certain CC and a certain
It's-
speed.
In the defense of some of those kids, thankfully they're not mine anymore doing that. But sometimes at 12 years old, they're learning to be better drivers when they become 60.
That's,
So, but they have to do it respectfully and they have to be careful, and
Right.
the parents are ultimately in charge to make sure that these kids are not gonna kill themselves or someone else.
They can use their legs more. That's what I meant.
And believe me, like,
We bike around everywhere.
use their legs. Up and down the dirt road is wide.
well, and that's, yeah, well, and on their property, but
Yeah, in town.
like if the kid gets hit in front of my house,
Right.
you know, but
Hmm.
I hope that we can come up with something that's enforceable because it's scary.
Do we want to do with 7.3 what we did with 7.2? Ask for a request for council action to see if council wants us to move forward on this?
And I like your idea. If they've taken the approved training course, then maybe it's okay for them.
Right, and I think
Yeah.
If they can show their, because they don't have an approved training course for golf carts, but if they can show that they have their ATV license,
Well, and honestly, if there's a kid driving down and is being, I don't care if he's 10 and he's respectful and
Yep.
being what he's supposed to do, I'm not gonna call anybody. But with these kids that are being dangerous, those are the ones I'm gonna,
And that's kind of what the training course teaches those kids. They've got to watch some videos, they've got to answer some questions, and
Yeah.
if they show them what can happen if you get in an accident, that does help.
yeah.
Yeah, because I see a correlation between OHV and golf cart, right? Just,
they're very, I mean,
very similar. You mentioned, I think I kind of like, at least for now, the thought of just lumping them into there if we can, of the same rules, and the ATV pass at 12 years old. I think if you're 18 or older, I personally give a pass, but I don't know, so.
state law requires you if you're born after July of 1987.
Yeah,
I missed it by.
I gotta say,
yeah,
there are,
I did too. I did for the sheriff's reserve. I had to take the course for that. Yeah.
there are certainly enough adults in town who drive those irresponsible.
Yeah.
Is that rain?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Are you for real right now?
But I wrote the one.
Yeah.
They're supposed to rain at 8 o'clock.
Just know whatever we put in the ordinance is gonna change every year, because we're just seeing the beginning of all these alternative vehicles.
Right,
We're gonna
yeah.
have drones out
Golf carts have been around for a few years. I don't know if anything's really gonna change on that.
there.
Can't we
But
just say motorized,
like,
or would that?
they have electric four-wheelers now, they have electric.
Now, where do you draw the line? How about the
But
e-bikes?
four-wheelers are still considered an ATV. We still have the UTV and we still have the snowmobile. So that ordinance is
they're almost like a scooter, like,
They're just a single big wheeler. There's someone on the, come in here.
They go so fast.
Balance, whatever, balance beams or balance.
Yeah.
An electronic skateboard.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
what's it called?
Yeah,
it's
they're
not very
electronic
fast.
skateboards, exactly.
Really.
Okay, so we'll do with 7.3, we'll do 7.2 and see what we can come back with. On the commissioner's concerns, miscellaneous items, anybody have
I
anything?
have one thing.
Yes, sir.
I'm just asking what's happening because my favorite outdoor entertainment center was torn down. What I mean is a covered picnic table and all that. Is there good? Is there gonna be something built?
So the boat landing, we essentially took it from the boat landing because they are tearing it down. The boat landing is getting revamped.
Oh.
It's gonna get all tore up, everything.
It's gonna have real.
New park.
Yes, it's gonna have, it's
DNR
gonna
doing
be,
that?
yes, the DNR is doing that.
Okay.
We don't have that, we don't know, the city does not own that park.
I think
The
we should
DNR
sell
does.
we should sell tickets there. Couples coming with their boats. Some of them are very good.
And,
Yeah, I've never seen others.
yes,
I saw one guy drop his boat right on the pavement.
All right. Any other commissioner concerns, miscellaneous
I-
items?
2 quick questions. Is there any update on the courthouse, the old courthouse? What's going on with it?
There was an article in the paper and Luke said, hang on and wait, we've been working on it, we've been getting to know the building. Jacob, sorry, there you go. I was looking at Luke.
Okay, so he's planning to continue to follow
Yep.
through with this. How
he
about
has
the-
until 2028.
Okay.
Okay.
How about the old KFC building? Any update on what's going on with that? Can't talk about it yet.
I have no idea.
People have been asking me and I didn't have any answers, so I thought this would be a good place to ask.
It's not attractive.
Privately owned, not for lease.
It's for lease, yeah, and what we get calls about is just the requirements, the lease amount they're asking. So they've got a lot of phone calls from franchise
Sure.
who wanna be there, but their terms are too high.
Gotcha. The landlord is a little out of touch.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Any other commissioner concerns or miscellaneous items? If not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Brent, do I hear a second? Second by Luke. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, meeting adjourned. 6:30 on the nose.